Well, hello everybody. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi. Hello from Singapore. Hi, LinkedIn user from Singapore. I'm in Amsterdam, which is like Sentosa in Singapore. There's a lot of reclaimed land here, and the hotels tend to be pretty clean. So, you know, not exactly the same thing, but there's a lot of good qualities shared between the two. Hello everybody. Hi everyone. Yes, hello. Hello. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Simon. Good morning. Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam. Oh, I'm here for Kotlin Conf. I'm a Kotlin Google developer expert. I'm a big Kotlin fan. I'm not particularly good at Kotlin, or if I'm honest, anything with code. But nonetheless, uh, I love Kotlin. I feel like it's a great way for Switzerland. Good morning to you from Switzerland. Yeah. Good morning. Hello. I love Kotlin because it's a great way for me to make mistakes in less lines of code, right? If you're gonna make mistakes, do it efficiently, and I'm all about that, right? So, expressive. Uh, uh, ooh, hello from the Philippines. Oh, you and Simon Ritter are in the Philippines. Simon Ritter is a fellow Java champion. I was looking at his tweets earlier. Interesting tidbit: almost a third of the Netherlands is situated below sea level. Yeah, I mean it's they build dams for a reason. They build damn good dams here. Very very good. Um, yeah, hi everybody. Good stuff. So, um, I think I might be in Singapore this summer, which is a terrible time to visit because it's hotter than usual. It's not. It's actually just it's drier. It's you know it's gonna be hot. So maybe I'll see you there. I don't know. No confirmation for sure. I have some uh, reasons to be in Asia and that in APAC, Korea and Singapore among them this summer. So maybe I'll set up a jug or something. Um, yeah, good stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'm here in Amsterdam for Kotlin Conf, and Kotlin Conf is when I'm speaking with James Ward. You might have seen the live stream we did a few days ago. He and I are going to be co-presenting not tomorrow, but the day after on Thursday, and then I'm gonna beat feet and get on a train and head to Paris so that I can speak at Devox France, and then I'll take another train back here, and then I'll fly out on Sunday. So a quick visit to the Benelux sort of region. Um, yeah, I'm hoping I'll be in Singapore. Yeah, I don't know. No confirmation. I don't know what the plans are. It's weird. Some of you are from LinkedIn, and I can see your names. Others, like you from Singapore, it just says LinkedIn user. That's interesting. There's actually quite a few of you from LinkedIn, and I can see your usernames and stuff. So it's kind of some sort of privacy gradient there that you have to opt into or not. But anyway, yeah, Singapore would be good. It'll be. I have missed Singapore. I haven't been since last October, and I had fun. I went to Asia last October for meetings and a presentation, public thing in Malaysia. And I was in Singapore and then Malaysia and then Thailand, right? And I had meetings in all those. And oh, you're my colleague. Oh, good. I love my colleagues. Um, but I was there and I started in Singapore. And Singapore, you know, I don't know if that's where I got sick, where we got sick. I brought my partner Tammy with me. Um, Hello from Singapore as well. Hi. Yes, I love YouTube. YouTube is to me it's just a natural place to do video. LinkedIn is a great place to do unsolicited spam regarding new job opportunities. So if you want unsolicited spam, obviously LinkedIn is great. But if you want pixels that are animated in some sequences so as to suggest a moving picture, then YouTube. And I think that's nice. It's good to have distinctions. Not everything can be good at everything. So Anyway, Singapore it was good because I started there. It was fun. I didn't have any issues. But then by the time I got to Malaysia, Tammy and I were like, we got sick. Um, and then by the time we were in Thailand, we were feeling a little bit better. But it was rough going, rough going there for it was touch and go for about a week and a half. Miserable. Um, but it didn't stop us from enjoying. We didn't have COVID. It was weird. We tested every which way from Sunday. It was not COVID. We didn't even have symptoms that were necessarily consistent with COVID, but it was something, man. It sucked. I was so glad when that was gone because that was like, and actually now that I've had COVID, and I've used the Paxlovid. That Paxlovid, I told you all, it defanged my infection, right? And it's not true for everybody. And for elderly people, it's going to be less effective. But for me, I felt fine within a couple of days, like normal, except for the taste in my mouth, which is actually a side effect of the medicine, not the disease. So actually, COVID was the second time around was much less traumatic or problematic than whatever it was that we had in Asia last October. So I'm hoping not to repeat that. I want to just go to Asia, have some delicious food, and that'll be good. Okay, so today, friends, I'm hoping I'll have fellow Java champion, luminary, legend, and all-around amazing human being, Trisha Gee, on the show later today. But I figured today I need to get my blog done, and I figured we could just work through the news together, see what's what, see what's good. I've got some links that might be good, kind of lined up, but who knows? Who knows? Let me see what I got here. Let's see. Oh, there's a few blogs here. Yeah, okay. So I'll share my screen and we can just chat. I mean, if you got questions, comments, feedback, whatever, as usual, I'm happy to engage. Let's see, entire screen. Voila. Okay. So here's my preliminary links. Who knows if any of them are going to be any good? I have a little net. I built a system to sort of download all the cool stuff I think might be interesting for me. So, for example, let's see, a guide to Spring Cloud Azure Key Vault. Let's see what that one is. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're definitely. Good morning from India. Hello. Well, is it morning still? No, maybe you're actually, what is it, 4 hours ahead, 3.5 hours, something like that from the UK. So it might be. Time in Bangalore.
It's 13:10 in Bengaluru, India.
13:10, yeah. So you're already well into the afternoon. I'll be in India. I'll be in India for the Great Indian Developer Summit not next week. Is it next week? Like soon, like this month. I'll be there. So hopefully, if you're in that region, we can meet. You a drive to the NL Jug is a tad long. What about Utrecht? Because I'm not speaking at the NL Jug, am I? I don't think I am. NL Jug. I think Trisha is, right? NL Jug. I don't know where the schedule is. NL Jug events. Okay, there we go. Gosh, I love this jug. How do I know what the schedule is for Amsterdam Jug? I think she's speaking at the Amsterdam Jug. I'm speaking at the Utrecht Jug with her tonight. I think they're part of the same federation, right? So, yeah. A question. Any plans for an updated version of Cloud Native Java? I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. Never say never, of course, but I'd much prefer to self-publish something. And I feel like that book did a good enough job in toto, as a discussion of all the big moving parts. But I think at this point it might be more interesting to focus on different aspects of it. And so, for example, one thing that struck me as like missing from that book was reactive. So I did a book, Reactive Spring, after that. And today you're right. There is definitely there are things that would change were I to update the code. Right, a lot of that code would change for the better. Right, because the paradigms sometimes they're just not there anymore. And of course, Kubernetes is definitely more pervasive now than it was in 2017 when the book was published. So yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I'd also have to like re-engage with Kenny. I don't know if he would want to update it or what, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, if I'm honest. I have a burning question regarding open source workflow libraries. Why is it tough to find? Any recommendations for a simple workflow that can configure multi-step approvals in your opinion's approach? Why, yes, yeah, absolutely. Flowable is extra dope, right? Flowable. Here you go. This is a open source, Apache 2 licensed Java library that you can embed in your code, and it has really good integration with Spring because it was built with Spring, and I worked on the Spring integration. So I don't know. Let me see. This is all the products and stuff, but where's the open source stuff? Open source community. Maybe this is how you get to it. Download Flowable. I don't want to download. I just want to go to the GitHub. Flowable. Wow, this has gotten. Okay, we're gonna try it the other way around. We're gonna go from GitHub.com Flowable. Here you go. There. Flowable engine, right? That's the bit that you want. In fact, I think it's still true. I don't know if it is, but let me check. Come on. Loading. Okay, fine. They don't have Flowable anymore. It used to be true that you could get Flowable or at least activity on there. So Flowable's great. Flowable's easy. It's a BPMN 2. So there was a time when they had Beeple, which is business process execution language. Beeple is terrible because it just orchestrated using something akin to SOAP. By the way, it was bureaucratic and painful. But you would orchestrate web service invocations basically, and that's not very interesting. I mean, it sort of misses the whole point, which is there's also human involvement, right? So human tasks, human agents are a big part of any workflow process, business process. So like they eventually grafted people into Beeple, and they called it Beeple for People, and I'm not making that up, right? Beeple for People. Oh, what's a thing? Beeple for People. WS Beeple extension for people. Beeple for People, right? This one. And this is just, it's fundamentally broken, right? You can't have workflow without people. The whole point is to automate, to orchestrate people in terms of the work, that they're doing, right? And so the fact that this came on is a bolted on, grafted on thing after is tedious. So then they, what did they do? Then they did Beeple for People, and then they had this thing kind of contemporaneous with all that. They had this thing called BPMN. Now BPMN it was originally a modeling tool, a thing that you could use to draw basically like UML workflow processes, and it had semantics around the symbols that you were using, but it wasn't the actual execution. It didn't stipulate that if you drew this picture, this is what would happen in an engine that supported it, right? It just had a way of it was shapes that described what you're trying to do, right? So okay, so then they decided then they just decided to create BPMN 2, which actually then implied it added semantics to those images, basically. So yeah, that's the interesting approach now. Is you've got this BPMN format, and there's a group of people from JBoss that created JBPM. Tom Byens, who's Belgian, and Yoram Barres, another Belgian. Tom created JBPM. Yoram joined the project, and then they both jointly left, and they created their own thing under what's that document? Alfresco, the CMS company, right? So they created a activity open source project. It's Apache 2 licensed, and for whatever reason, I forget at this point, it doesn't all that much matter. Yoram, by this point, by himself and some others that were under the team with him, they went off and created a company, in effect forking activity, and they created Flowable. So Flowable is a fairly new company. It's like 5 years, but it's huge. There's hundreds of people as far as I know, and it's open source and Apache licensed, and it's got great pedigree. It came from, almost 2 decades of like R&D, right? First through JBPM, and then activity, and now through Flowable. So it's really, really good, and it's got a great integration with Spring because I helped work on that. So it's great despite the fact that I worked on it. Yeah, so check that out. What else? With Project Loom, virtual threads are going to be a breaking change. How will this impact Spring Reactive WebFlex? They're not going to be a breaking change. It's quite the contrary, right? It'll take existing code, and yeah, you can take existing code. Did you see that? Did you see the discussion we had with Jose Pomar a few days ago? That was quite illuminating, right? Because basically you'll just change the thread pool, because it makes no sense to have a thread pool. So you just create a thread pool that creates a new instance each time, and you're good to go, right? And then from there, you can use that thread pool in your existing code, and it'll just do better. It'll get you good scale. So it won't break anything. And in point of fact, I think it'll make it so that you can get reactive-like scale, but not necessarily ease of use or composition, by just using existing blocking input and output, all that, right? The magic trick, it was kind of very interesting to hear Jose describe it, basically, which is, it's actually very general purpose. They will detect whenever you're blocking a thread. That is to say, when you've got a thread that you're keeping but you're not doing anything with it, and then move that to some buffer, and it'll just move. It'll pause what you're doing, waiting for some sort of signal, and then as soon as that's there, it'll then put it back on the thread and let it continue. So it's going to be nice with I/O, because you'll have lots of like, I'm waiting for the next byte, but I'm not doing anything, right? And that'll benefit from this. But in theory, anything that just blocks a thread but that doesn't do anything will automatically get taken care of with this integration, right? Which is kind of cool, right? That's pretty powerful. So your input stream and output streams are the most obvious place where you're gonna get that magic trick, right? It's just you're gonna read a byte. It's going to sit there blocking the thread. It's still going to block, but then the JVM is going to detect that it's blocking and pause it and move it to another background buffer until a signal happens, and then it'll move it back. So, they updated the input stream and output stream and all these other things to hook into these signals to that tell the JVM when it's got more work to do. But basically, it's really amazing. So that's not going to break reactive, or even your regular code. It should just work the same way, right? Okay, so let me see here. Let me see here, people. I'm sorry. Videos. Checking something here. Is this I wonder, let's see, that this content. Okay, anyway, so yeah, they let me see what else. Oh, how will it impact Spring Reactive? So basically, Reactive is still a great way to build systems at scale. It's still a great way to build systems with ease of composition in mind. You're not disadvantaged in any way by using that. But if you're just trying to get scale, that is to say, handle more requests at the same time, you'll definitely have an option there with Loom, right? But it's just as good, basically. We did some preliminary testing. Actually, there's a good blog by Mark Thomas, who was also on the show recently. There's a good blog by Mark Thomas recently, wherein he looked at So Mark Thomas, Loom, Tomcat, this thing right here. So first of all, he was on the show, right? That was, gosh, a month ago. But we've also got this blog here from February 27th, wherein he talked about web applications and Project Loom, right? And that is this. That is this amazing blog where basically, where's the TLDR? Where's the conclusion here? Using a virtual thread-based executor is a viable alternative to Tomcat's standard thread pool. The benefits of switching to a virtual thread executor are marginal in terms of container overhead. So basically, it doesn't make it more memory efficient, right? Yeah. So, and then web applications that experience blocking, such as classic Spring MVC on Tomcat, and have not switched to the servlet asynchronous API, reactive programming, or other asynchronous APIs, should see some scalability improvements by switching to a virtual thread-based executor. Depending on the web application, these improvements may be achievable with no changes to the web application code. Web applications that have switched to using the servlet asynchronous API, reactive programming, or other asynchronous APIs are unlikely to observe measurable differences, positive or negative, by switching to a virtual thread-based executor. So basically, if you've got blocking Spring MVC code, then this is a win for you, right? It's going to be a good deal. So I'm excited about that. That means that your code from yesteryear will do the right thing. Reactive and Hibernate Reactive is not supported by Spring yet. Oh, what's the status on there? I was kind of, I don't even know what our status is, but I definitely know isn't there like a bit, does Hibernate Reactive, is that even compatible with Hibernate, right? I thought Hibernate Reactive was like 5 and main Hibernate is 6 or something like that. Equivalent, Reactive API. Hibernate ORM 5.6. That's this right here. And then where are we with, what's the current Hibernate version? Hibernate 6.2. So I don't even know. Hibernate, it's interesting. I've never used it. I don't know anybody who has, except for you now. That's cool. You hit a bit of a roadblock in using JPA and joins for MariaDB, R2DBC, and JPA. Yeah, R2DBC and JPA don't work at all together because they're not meant to, right? JPA is blocking and R2DBC is reactive. So you might, I would definitely, I'm not surprised you hit issues there. Yeah. Oh, what is that? Temporal IO. Temporal IO. Let's see. Eliminate complex error, retry logic, avoid callbacks, and ensure that every workflow you start completes. Temporal delivers durable execution for your services and applications. How it works. Take a look under the hood in record time. Your application. Okay, already. This is Go. Are there other clients? There must be. Worker, more Go code. Event history. Okay, it looks like they've got a workflow engine, but it's in Go. It's in Go. Looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there a way to use this from Java? That's docs. Oh yeah, legacy. Oh no, that's not good. I want legacy. I don't want legacy. Oh, developers guides. Here we go. Go Java. Okay. Run a development cluster. Add an SDK here. Signals, queries, workflow timeouts. Yeah, it looks like you can do some pretty cool stuff here. Let's see. Signals. What is that? Oh, everything's in Go. Who are these people using Go on purpose? Oh, there we go. There's Java. Okay, so use signal method to annotation to handle signals in the workflow interface. Signal method. So what is that doing? Retry signal. That's cool. Does that mean that this will update, will this will like signal a wait state in the workflow called update greeting and then pass in a property if somebody injects and then calls the method on this interface? That's kind of interesting. Workflow, register listener. Greetings. To send a signal to a workflow execution from a client. Yeah, what do they call it in Flowable? They don't call it signal, do they? They call it, do they? Is it trigger? I think it's trigger. The idea that you can tell a wait state to keep this, like you can have a wait state where it just sits there and then something activates or triggers or signals it or whatever, and then it starts moving the state machine forward. Well, that's cool. Oh yeah, so this is basically the kind of code. I like that interface thing. Maybe that's really kind of very convenient. It'd be nice if Flowable supported such a thing as well, where you could like annotate an interface and then call methods on it to move the workflow forward. Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. Is this open source? That's neat. Workflow method, signal method, query method. What is this for? What is a query method? Queries. A query is a synchronous operation that is used to get the state of a workflow execution. Sure. So is this like a process variable that you're extracting from the workflow at a given time? That's really cool, actually. That is super cool. Look at that. And then so you've got workflow method. This is what you kick off a workflow called greet. And what is this? What is the return value? So workflow method. What does this do? Child workflow. Can be made by async function or async procure procedure. The synchronous call blocks until a child workflow method. Okay. Return workflow, new child workflow subgreeting, greeting child, promise async function, child compose greeting. It's a custom async thing, which is probably not great. But what is this workflow method? I don't know. What does that do? What does what does the workflow method do? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, it's still very, very cool. That's interesting. That is cool. Does it work with Spring? Like these interfaces are obviously very Spring-y. So so let me see. Docs, change, learn temporal, kilo. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is it like open source? That's what I don't know. Is it something I can use, or do I have to like run their proprietary thing? Java, okay. Run a development cluster, add SDK to your project, okay. Brew install temporal, okay. It's got a CLI, neat. Start the temporal dev server. Cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, creates a web UI, creates the default namespace as a using in-memory database. Okay. Okay, Java. Temporal SDK. I don't know how it works, but it's really cool. I will definitely take more of a look at that later because, yeah, it's always good to have this conversation. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, this is interesting, and it reminds me that whole discussion around Go does remind me. Did you see that the TOB language index was just updated, and Zig made it into the Roundup, just barely, but it did. So the top 50, I think. Zig, where's Zig? There it is. Zig. Have you seen Zig? So, I mean, Scheme, Prolog, ABAP, Bash. Wow, that's the 50 most used. I use this all the time. I can't even imagine people not using more Bash. That's weird. But okay, Zig. This is interesting to me because Zig is like C++, but uh, but fixed. So here, Zig is a general purpose programming language and toolchain for maintaining robust, optimal, and reusable software. Okay, great. Okay, so you've got const, std, at import, kind of like Node.js, where you can do, const JSON equals, require parentheses JSON or whatever. You can then dereference things in that module. Like I can say, give me the JSON type thing from the module, right? I can have multi-line strings. I'm not sure if this backslash thing is how you do multi-line strings, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know why they didn't just go with the triple quote thing that so many other languages do, but sure. Because this is it kind of, it's multi-line strings, but it defeats the fun. You might as well just do quote and plus sign each line. It somehow made it worse because I have the benefits. I don't have any of the benefits of multi-line strings by doing this. Basically, I don't have free-form text, so it's the worst. But basically, it looks pretty good, right? Nice little language. You've got struct. You've got easy inline structs. Nicely typed. You've got auto typing. You've got nice modules. Nice SDK. That language is now in the top 50 most used languages. Go, its position declined for the first time in years, and where else did things land? So Python, number 1. Number 2 is C, which blows my mind because I don't understand how C. Do you know anybody writing C code? Like, I literally don't know anybody who writes C code for a living. I know a few who write C++ because they do like games or something like that. But C, yeah, that's weird. C++ is there. Java's number 3 by this index, but of course that, it's hard to believe that Java has a higher ranking than JavaScript, right? Or at least TypeScript or something. But so take this with a grain of salt. TOB's index is never, it's not the only arbiter of like success. Obviously, there's different measures that will show you different rankings. But nonetheless, kind of an interesting thing here. So these are all in the top 7. I don't know why I guess they didn't change their positions recently. SQL has gone up in popularity. I think there's a bit of a backlash from NoSQL and new SQL and whatever over the years, and so people are coming up. PHP is more popular. That's you hate to see it. Go is okay. Go has gone up in popularity. Good. Okay. Where's Rust? Rust, I thought was like, there you go. That's gone up a lot. It looks like Fortran has gone up. Oh, that's bad. Let's see here. What are we looking at here? What is this? This is showing those languages, the top 20. No, top. These are just a sampling, right? But where's Java, right? Where's Java? Java is this one. So you can see its popularity is waning a little bit. But where's Kotlin? Kotlin. Here you go. Kotlin is, well, see, that doesn't make sense either, does it? Kotlin is, every Android developer is using Kotlin. So there's no way it's just 0.25, right? If you're doing mobile for, 75% of the world, you're using Kotlin today. But let's see. Java has gone down. So what is this? This is percentage, right? So from 25 down to, what's that line? 15-ish, 25-ish to 15-ish, in the last 20 years. So, interesting state of things, Java's still very popular, obviously. I mean, the Java has gone up in popularity, though, so it's plus 2.4%. What does that mean? That means that it was the same ranking as last year, right? It was number 3 last year, April 2022, but it's gotten more positive ratings, I guess. What is ratings? Is that like thumbs up, thumbs down? I don't know what that is. That's interesting. Anyway, kind of an interesting lineup. I don't know if I was kind of interested to see. I thought Go, what happened there? Oh, it went up. Maybe it didn't grow as fast. It looks like it's fine. It actually went up in rank. It was number 10. It's number 10 now. It was number 13 last year. So maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know what I thought I saw some headline, but that doesn't bear out when I'm looking at it here. Okay. What else? Oh yeah, they even mentioned Zig here. So Google, that's a good point. Google has a language called Carbon, right? Google Carbon. Like it's interesting to me. You can tell how popular language is by all the languages that purport to succeed it, right? And so Java obviously is a great example here, right? How many Java killers have there been? How many different times have people built languages aimed at superseding Java, right? And so Kotlin obviously is one of them. Scala, another. Groovy, quite another. There's a number of languages, and then even if you're looking at just languages built on the top of Java that aren't superseding Java, but that are built on the platform, right? That's another interesting metric: is how good a language, how useful a language is your language in building other languages. So, for example, JRuby or Python or Rhino, JavaScript, right? Nashorn, that kind of stuff. So Java is obviously is fertile ground. It's a test bed for all sorts of cool stuff in language development. Another one, obviously, is C++. C++, you just saw the numbers. It's everywhere. It's never going away, for better or for worse. But everybody wants to try and replace it, right? And so people have been saying, oh, well, if you want the same performance or nearly the same performance as C++ without half of the without half of the many ways to shoot yourself in the foot, then try Carbon, right? Carbon, or Rust. They've been saying Rust as well, right? But Rust is there's no there's no explicit memory management there. You've got a borrow checker, which is a different paradigm for memory management. It's not garbage collection, but basically you don't get pointers, right? So in theory, people that are using C++ will say, no, sometimes I really need to manipulate memory pointers. And I'm like, I've been using Java since the 90s, and I don't have any use case for which memory management was particularly useful, and in fact, the only time I really need to manage memory is when I'm doing JNI to talk to C++, because for some reason that code needed to do it. It feels like it's a kludge. It's one of those things where if we just stop saying it's okay and stop making it seem like a cool power user feature, maybe we'll stop doing it, I feel like there's a lot of ways to solve problems that go beyond giving people a raw memory address and telling them to do interesting things with it instead of just building an API around it. Okay. Carbon Lang. So anyway, this is Google's thing, right? And Google, they have a bit of a spotty track record, right? There's Dart, which is fine, right? It's a JavaScript replacement, like TypeScript, that hasn't nearly the traction of TypeScript. And that's interesting. I just saw a drone flying around. I'm out in the middle of the boonies, by the way. I'm in Amsterdam, but I booked a hotel that looked really nice, and it is quite nice. But I am like, this is not the city center. I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? It's like, it's just wide open. Looks like there's a big box store across the street, for example, like a Walmart or a Costco or something called Gamma. I don't know if that's a big box store. It kind of looks like one. But anyway, I just saw a drone flying on. So anyway, Carbon is supposed to be a C++ killer, like an experimental successor to C++. And it is also a quite nice language. Look at that. That syntax is, looks workable. It's got generics as opposed to templates in C++, right? So that's nice. It's got actual generics. Templates are nice. I mean, first of all, templates are Turing complete. So you have a meta programming language within C++, which itself you can use to solve and do crazy things with. So, and that can actually add a lot of complexity to your compilation, and it makes compilations really slow because you get these permutations of types, that have to be accounted for every compilation. You've got auto typing, you've got nice for loops, you've got, basic, looks like a nice language, but that language, it hasn't entered the TOB index, but Zig has, right? So here's Zig, a general purpose programming language, robust, simple, blah, blah, blah code, and it's incrementally improves your C++ code base, right? That's the whole point. It's just very interesting to me. Zig, I didn't really even know about Zig until I saw this index. I heard about Carbon because, of course, it's Google, right? Everybody heard about them and that. I also find it interesting that they still have a use for something like Carbon at Google. Perhaps invalidating the point I was just trying to make, but they have a use for Carbon, and that use is not served at the moment, at least, by Go. And I suppose they're just looking for take your existing code and incrementally improve it, as opposed to write a new code base in Go, right? Yeah, interesting. Quite interesting. Like C++ is made complicated. Bjorn Straustrup, he'll say that C++ is made complicated because it has to be a superset of C. And of course, that's more or less the truth today, which is that you can take most C programs and they'll compile with the C++ compiler, but obviously C is still growing and diverging and so on. So I wonder if at some point, someday, somewhere, there'll be a feature in C that it's probably already happened. Maybe, I don't know, but I wonder if there's a feature in C that won't compile in C++, because C will start sprouting features that seem incompatible. They conflict with an already existing feature in C++. Okay. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know if this was even, when did this get updated? I guess this could go in our little roundup for the week. Let's put it at the bottom here. New okay. We're gonna keep that. That's not particular to Spring, or Kotlin. Still is it growing? I don't even know if it's doing better or worse relative to before. Ruby has gone down. So it was 18. Wait, has it gone down? No, yeah, it's 18 now. It was 15 before. That's a bit of a bummer, right? Ruby's a nice language. Swift has gone down. That makes no sense. Why would Swift go down? Have iPhones stopped being useful? Or at Mac? R, Scratch, MATLAB, Delphi, Classics. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so keep that. A few other things that I'm going to keep in this roundup that I don't know if you all saw. I'm in Amsterdam. I spent some time yesterday with my friends over at JetBrains in the office here, and I've been tweeting about the Pure Flow playlist. They have a Spotify playlist which I quite like, called Pure Flow, right? So here's this one, and this one is just it's great music for coding. It's my kind of music, but I didn't know. I found out yesterday they have two others. One is called Code Like It's the 80s, which is perfect. It's an amazingly good playlist of like 80s style music. So there's that, and they have another one which is it's good music. I wouldn't want this blaring in my head when I'm trying to write code. It's adrenaline coding. So this is like a cup of coffee. It's maybe I'll listen to it before I go into the gym or something, or start writing code. But it's adrenaline coding. So interesting. My favorite is still the Pure Flow, followed by the Code Like It's 80s. Right? Pure Flow is perfect for me. I could listen to this in repeat too. So that's that. I'll include that in the roundup. What else do we got here? Our friend at Microsoft have some good content. Let's see what they said. I don't care about that. Let's see. What about this one? Oh, quick start guide for Azure Spring Apps. Azure Spring Apps, by the by, is a platform as a service like offering that the Spring team co-developed with Microsoft, and it's a very productive way to get a Spring Boot or Spring Cloud application up and running. So, and it sits on top of Kubernetes, but it's not Kubernetes. You don't really interact with Kubernetes. It's just one of the things that's being used underneath the hood. And you just think about Spring Boot app in cloud app instance running out. So I quite like it because it has nice integrations with all the observability and auto scaling and all that stuff that you come to expect when using Spring and a cloud platform like Microsoft Azure, but it's just push button simple. There's even a whole CLI that you can use to scale things up and down and so on beyond the AZ command line, which is what you usually use when using Microsoft Azure. So that's cool. Looks like this is just basic. I mean, I've done this before. I'm showing the page for your benefit. I've done the Azure Spring Apps 101 a million times, right? I've done talks on it and so on. Let's see, event-driven app. That's cool. Okay, good. So we'll include that. The cloud platform as a service co-developed by Microsoft and the Spring team. Okay, I guess they updated it or put out a new one. Unidirectional one, meaning I don't care. Move on. URL matching in Spring Boot 3. Ah, yes, a perennial favorite. So in this tutorial, we'll explore the changes in URL matching introduced by Spring Boot 3 and Spring Framework 6. URL matching is a powerful feature in Spring Boot that enables developers to map specific URLs to controllers and actions in a web application. Yeah, okay, obviously. So Spring MVC and WebFlex URL matching changes. Spring Boot 3 significantly changed the trailing / matching configure option. This option determines whether or not to treat a URL with a trailing / the same as a URL without the one. Previous versions of Spring Boot set this option to true by default. This meant that a controller would match both get some greeting and get some greeting /, which, by the way, I didn't know. I never even relied on it. It was a surprise if it worked. And it made security weird too because it was slightly incompatible. So if we try to access a URL with a trailing /, we'll receive a 404 error unless the controller is specifically set up to handle URLs with a trailing /. Okay, so let's explore some options on how we can adapt to this change. An additional route. Okay, yeah, you could create another route like this. That's easy enough, and then just forward. It's just a method. You could call the original method. This seems a little redundant. You don't actually need to create the same controller. You could just and actually, I think you can have two URLs as an array, right? Is that true? Or override default configuration. Set using trailing /match. Oh, that's the right way to do it. Create a WebMVC configure or a WebFlex configure with a path match configure on both sides. Good, very consistent too. Okay, configure redirect using a custom filter. Yeah, don't do this. This is that seems very painful. I would just use the configure. Okay. I don't know why we have the filter. Configure redirect. Okay, this is okay. Clearly, they're just like trying to meet a word count here. This is your best bet, right? Right here. Do that. So let's see here. Okay. What did I tweet? Oh yeah, okay. That's just me talk about this playlists. Don't need that. Don't care about Java program to okay, whatever. Don't want that. Okay. Okay. Utils methods. This is one of those things where I don't know if people appreciate just how many libraries you don't need. This is 6 years ago. This is an old video, but there are so many utility methods in Spring, in the Spring ecosystem, in the Spring frameworks. So many, in fact. And if you like, a lot of times you might bring in commons, lang, or whatever. Don't do that. Just use the many different utility classes. Like if you go here, GitHub Spring tips. Let's see here. Utilities. Okay. No, utility classes. This is from 2017, September 10, 2017. Source main Java com example util your examples. Okay, so you can see I've looked at which one is this? This is utils example application. Okay, we've got an AOP thing, reflection utils, quite useful. We've got resolvable types. We talked about that. AOP utils, that's to find the target class for a given bean. Servlet request utils, right? Request context utils, web utils. My God, like all this stuff. System property utils, file copy utils, class utils, bean utils, just all this stuff. It's probably in. You found that out yesterday when using class path resource. What did you find out yesterday there? What did you find out? I mean, yeah, there's lots of good stuff. Lots of, oh, you just discovered class path resource? Oh, it's so good. That's another thing. I don't know if people appreciate the resource abstraction. We talked about that in our intro to Spring Boot live streams in the last month and a half or whatever it was. But yeah, there's this whole thing. There's a Spring IO, org Spring Framework IO resource, which has a like dozen different implementations that give you a consistent way to describe and refer to things that produce bytes. I mean, MongoDB, GridFS, your S3 buckets, your file system, a URL, a class path resource, anything, right? Anything that can produce bytes. There's probably a wrapper. The virtual file system from JBoss, AS. They have a resource representation for that. They're everywhere, and Spring even understands them. Like you can return a class path reason. Like if you want to render an image or render bytes from a Spring MVC endpoint, you can. I think you can just return a resource. You have to set up the headers, right? Set up the content type. But if you just pass back a resource as a controller handler method return value, Spring knows what to do like with that. It'll read the bytes and then send it back, right? You don't have to manually like write bytes to the output stream and all this stuff. You could, no reason not, but it'll just do the right thing for you. It's really convenient. Anyway, yeah. Okay, anyway, moving on. So keep that in the guide. Okay, good. Jackson annotation examples. Ooh, I love Jackson. Oh, it's gone. Never mind. Always good to check. Is there an equivalent? Yes, this was great. I saw this morning. Is there an equivalent of Spring Boot for Kotlin? The answer is yes. I'll spare you the tension. There is, and the answer is that it's Spring Boot. Spring Boot is the equivalent of Spring Boot for Kotlin, right? And what I loved about this is this article talks about the one, the only, the illustrious, the amazing Sebastien Deleuze. He calls him a Greek hero, right? And it's so true. Now it was his turn to be struck by the simplicity of my answer. So I went on. Spring with Kotlin works the same as Spring for Java, and mostly it's a no-brainer. You can Google Sebastien Deleuze, Kotlin Spring. This guy from the Spring team has been working like a Greek hero for a very long time, fixing issues small and big, creating libraries, producing sample projects, writing articles, giving talks, and it's true. Sebastian is a legend. He's amazing, and he's like, if you look at the push for reactive, he was instrumental in that. If you look at the work around GraalVM native images, he was instrumental in that as well. And then if you look at Kotlin, he was instrumental in pushing that as well. Just a lot of the really cool stuff we've done in the Spring team, he helped get off the ground in the last several years, right? I love Sebastian, working like a Greek hero. Damn right. He's a French hero. He's one of my all-time favorite human beings. Yeah. Yeah, that's ooh. What the heck? So Trisha is coming to Kotlin Conf, right? She'll be here soon, and I'm no Starbucks man, but it's only been 5 days since I was last in the airport. Oh, that's so great. I don't even know what the response to that is. Just okay. So moving on. Good. Greek hero. That's not news. I just think it's a great article. Is there equivalent of Spring Boot for Kotlin? This is the part I don't know. Sebastian. That one? Yeah. Okay. Deleuze. Okay. Good. Auditing support and Hibernate, no thank you. Difference between class path and source path, no thank you. PCLS Java, okay, whatever. Don't care. Okay, so have you seen these blogs recently? Context propagations with Project Reactor, because we've kind of updated the API there. So there's been this great Marius, whoops. How are these? There you go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here's 1. Why didn't that URL work? There's 1. 2. Learn. Okay, context propagation. 3, okay. Two. What's the URL? Oh, it's the dates. Right, okay. And then part 3. So it looks like the dates are no longer correct. So there might be some incompatibility, which is why it's worth reposting these. Okay. What happened there? Something funny happened with the CMS, it looks like. By the way, not that this is all that important, but did you know we switched out our CMS backend and nobody noticed, which is amazing. Like we did it, not me, I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there, like throwing wrenches. But the team that did it just did an amazing job. We have tens of thousands of logs, right, over however many decades, and everything just works. It's really amazing, seamless job that took it wasn't overnight, to be sure. It took a long time to get the new stuff set up in such a way that we could just switch over and it would work fine. Hi Kunal, hi, how are you? Good to see you again. Yeah, and by the way, I should definitely, I'm going to highlight that class path resource and resources in general work very well. Okay, a guide to Spring Cloud Azure Key Vault. Okay, this is the one we started with and I didn't read it. So what is Spring Cloud Azure? Spring Cloud Azure is a comprehensive suite of libraries and tools specifically designed to facilitate integration between Spring applications and Microsoft Azure services. While it's already possible to integrate Java applications with the Azure SDK, the introduction of the Spring Cloud Azure takes this integration to a whole new level. By leveraging a powerful set of APIs offered by Spring Cloud Azure, we can conveniently interact with the various Azure services such as Azure Storage, Cosmos DB, and many others. Okay, generic, but true. Configuration management. Spring Cloud Azure starter configuration, fine. Spring Cloud Azure starter storage, Spring Cloud Azure Cosmos. Yeah, I mean, this is all pretty boilerplate. Good. Sign up for an Azure subscription. Okay, good. AZ login, AZ group. Okay. Integration, Azure Key Vault. Whew. Like all of that was just how to get started with Microsoft Azure and Spring Cloud. And the article is all about Azure Key Vault. So really, you could skip to section 4.1 before you even get to, it's not a book. This is just an article. And we're already at 4.1. Okay. So Azure Key Vault is a powerful cloud-based service that provides a reliable way to store and manage sensitive data, including cryptographic keys, secrets, and certificates. It can act as an internal configuration source for applications. Instead of defining sensitive information as values in a configuration file, we define them as secrets in Azure Key Vault and then securely inject them into the application at runtime. To start, we need a new Key Vault on the resource group that we previously created. Use the Azure CLI to create this, but we can also use the portal, which, by the way, I don't do. I purposely, whenever I can, for demos, I probably show the portal, but whenever I can, I try and learn the command line for this stuff because it's so much more powerful. After creating the Key Vault storage, just create two secrets in the Key Vault storage, new Key Vault, AZ Key Vault secret set, blah, blah, blah. The first secret has the key my database secret and the value my database secret value, and the second has the key my secret and the value my secret value. Okay. What is a secret client class? Vault URL. Okay. Yeeks. Well, I'll never find that article again. Was it over here? Okay. Now. Azure Key Vault, my vault URL, my vault tenant ID. Okay. Is it showing how to manually create your own key vault binding? Implement key vault client. Oh, okay, so but it's manually configured. Yeah, okay, it's showing you the wrong way. Why would you show that? Also, couldn't you just use properties? I think there's an environment like property source that you can use. Inject secrets and property files. Yeah, database. Hmm. Okay, well, I learned a few things. Azure Key Vault integration. Check out this guide on the Doom blog. Okay, looks like we did it. So, yeah, I think that's. I'm gonna publish this. I'll write the intro here, and I'll get that up on the blog. And then I'm gonna go see if I can meet Trisha in a few hours, like 3 hours or something like that. I might even go back to bed. Who knows? I'm in Amsterdam, like I said. My flight arrived yesterday, and I was lucky enough to go meet Hadi Harari and some others from JetBrains, and we had a grand old time setting up and doing some stuff in advance of Kotlin Conf, and we went out and had dinner and a drink or two, and just a great way to spend the day. I landed and I didn't go to bed. That was the important thing. I waited until it was late, but yeah, I woke up at 6 this morning. After going to bed at, like, let's say midnight, so I got 6 hours. So I'm not exhausted, but an extra hour wouldn't hurt, or would it? What if I'm really tired and I don't know it? You ever like get very tired but you don't know it? You feel fine and you take a nap, and next thing you know, it's tomorrow. Get bad enough jet lag, that'll happen, and it's not a pleasant surprise because I can't afford to miss. I'll be. By the way, if you're in the Benelux area, for everybody except for Simon, because he said he's not coming. If you're in this area, come see Trisha Gee and yours truly tonight at the Utrecht Jug. Let me see. Let's see. James Gosling. Love that guy. Yeah, this one. The amazing Trisha Gee is going to be kicking the show off, and then I'll be there. If anybody's still around and wants to learn, anything else, if they've got any more room in their head, I'll be there to give a talk on Spring Boot 3. But basically, I would just come to see Trisha. It's going to be awesome. And for all of you, you've already seen my talk. I'm starting to feel bad for you, so you don't have to come for that. Actually, that talk, by the way. Let's see, beautiful Spring Boot 3. Where is that video? I don't know if it's recording or streamed. That's a great question. Not IntelliJ. Yeah. Live. This one. Okay. I'm proud of this video because I got everything I wanted to get in basically enough time, and also I like it because Mala Gupta, like deity, a legend, she was patient enough to give me 10 extra minutes or whatever it was, so I could finish the presentation and get every point in that I wanted to get in. And so as a result, it's like my favorite version of that talk. It's got everything. I didn't have to cut anything out. So I'm going to include that because it's a good representation of my thinking on the latest and greatest in Spring Boot these days, and people seem to like it. Like I said, there's 65,000 plus odd views, right? Almost 66,000. So we'll see. It could be worse. There's that. I also did a 2-hour version on my channel, as you might know, and that's very quick. I don't know if I'm sure you've all seen it, but just in case, this one, 6 minutes, right? Very quick. But either way, I'm going to put that in. I'll put the 1-hour version, because if you haven't seen that, then you're not going to get a lot from tonight's presentation from me, which is why I say, come see Trisha, because there's always something. She's now at Gradle. She'll be talking about developer productivity engineering, and hopefully she will help me unscrew up my Gradle build. We'll see. All right, everybody, been fun. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. I hope you got something out of it. It was good to go through this roundup. It's always good to look at the latest and greatest resources. Oh, Spring Academy. That's the other thing. I should. Spring Academy. I should put that in the roundup. I love this. This is getting better and better by the day. We are adding new stuff all the time. It's a portal. It's training, and there's a path to certification with this, right? And it's free, so you can do a lot for free. There's an upsell if you want, but you don't have to. There's a lot you can do just for free. So, want a great free resource to learn Spring? Check out the Spring Academy. Okay, there we are. Okay. Good. All right, everybody. Yeah, see you tonight. Have a great day. Actually, I'll probably see you. I'll probably be streaming again in a few hours. So, fingers crossed that I don't fall asleep and miss out on my opportunity to interview Trisha. Okay, everybody. Have a great day. Talk to you all soon.